She says she's not interested, but her body tells a different story. Every man has been there. You meet a woman, you feel that spark, but on the surface she acts distant. She keeps her words short, avoids direct compliments, maybe even pretends you don't matter. And you start second-guessing yourself. Does she like me, or am I imagining things? Most men take her words at face value and walk away, never realizing the signals she was trying so hard to hide. Here's the truth. Women often feel attraction long before they're willing to admit it, and when they do, they cover it up with mixed signals, silence, teasing, pulling back, or acting overly casual. It's not because they don't want you, it's because they don't want to appear too easy, too obvious, or too vulnerable. If you can't read the hidden signs, you'll miss your chance. But if you can, you'll see the truth behind her mask. That's where Stoicism comes in. A Stoic man doesn't react to surface behavior, he observes deeper. He doesn't panic when she's cold. He notices the cues that betray her interest. And once you understand these signals, you stop doubting yourself and start moving with quiet confidence. In this video, we're breaking down the signs a woman likes you, even when she's trying not to show it. Let's get into it. Signs 1. Nervous but pretending to be calm. One of the first signs a woman likes you yet tries to hide it is when her nerves betray her, even though she's acting like she's calm. This happens more often than most men realize. Outwardly, she'll try to appear composed, even detached. But if you pay attention, her body will give her away. Think about it. She might fidget with her jewelry, adjust her hair more often than usual, or shift her posture when you enter the room. Her voice might crack slightly, or she might talk faster than normal. She could avoid your eyes for too long, only to steal glances when she thinks you're not looking. All of these micro-behaviors point to attraction she's not ready to admit. Take Michael, 56, from Denver. He recently met Laura, 52, at a community fundraiser. Laura was warm but oddly formal, keeping her words measured and her posture straight. On the surface, she looked calm, but Michael noticed something different. Whenever he leaned in to talk, Laura's breathing quickened. She tapped her fingers lightly against her glass, and she laughed at even his simplest remarks. Though she was trying to keep control, her nerves exposed her interest. Most men would miss these details or misinterpret them as disinterest. But Michael, staying grounded, recognized the truth. Here's the psychology. When women like someone, they feel vulnerable. Vulnerability creates nervousness, but they mask it because they don't want to appear too eager. They know being too obvious can shift the dynamic, so they act calm while their body reveals tension. This is where Stoicism makes the difference. A Stoic man doesn't rush to confront her or call her out on her nervousness. Instead, he stays centered, observing without judgment. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Apply that here. Let her nerves surface, but don't react with neediness. Simply stay steady in your own frame, and her comfort will grow around your calm energy. The biggest mistake men make is pushing too hard when they notice nervous behavior. They'll ask, "Why are you nervous?" or "Are you okay?" which only makes her more self-conscious. That kills the moment. The right move is to act unfazed, to keep your tone relaxed, to make her feel safe without exposing her vulnerability. Now, why does this matter? Because nervousness paired with composure is a strong indicator of hidden interest. If she truly had no attraction, she wouldn't care enough to feel nervous at all. Indifference looks different. It's flat, detached, with no energy behind her actions. Nervous energy means you matter more than she wants to admit. So the next time you notice a woman adjusting her appearance repeatedly, fumbling with her words, or laughing a little too much while still trying to look calm, take note. Don't ignore it, but don't exploit it either. Just recognize it for what it is, a quiet sign of attraction trying to stay hidden. If you've ever picked up on a woman's nervousness and realized it meant more than she was letting on, Write it in the comments. I read the signs. And here's the bigger picture. When you start to see these subtle cues, your confidence grows. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop taking her cold exterior at face value. You begin to trust your ability to observe and respond with strength. And once you learn to recognize this first sign, the rest of the hidden signals will start to reveal themselves in ways you never noticed before. Signs 2. Her eyes linger more than her words. They say the eyes never lie, and when it comes to attraction, that couldn't be truer. A woman may keep her words short, controlled, or even neutral, but her eyes will often reveal what she's trying to hide. If you know how to read those moments, you'll see interest long before she ever says it out loud. Here's what it looks like. She maintains eye contact a little longer than normal, but breaks it suddenly when she feels exposed. She glances at your lips while you're talking, almost unconsciously. She looks at you when you're not speaking, then quickly looks away when you catch her. Sometimes it's subtle, a half-second longer, a glance that seems meaningless, but these are the cracks in her armor. Her words may stay cool, but her eyes betray her. Why does this happen? Because attraction activates instinct. She can control her sentences, her tone, her body posture, but eye behavior is harder to fake. It's a window into the emotions beneath the surface. When her eyes soften, dilate slightly, or return to you repeatedly in a group setting, it's her subconscious signaling more than she wants to admit. This is where many men fail. They take her words literally and ignore her eyes. She might say she's busy or act like the conversation doesn't matter, but if her gaze keeps returning, she's communicating interest in a way she hopes you won't call out directly. The key is to notice it without overreacting. The Stoics spoke of this kind of discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, what someone focuses on reveals what truly fills their mind. If her eyes repeatedly find you, it's not random. It's a reflection of where her attention naturally flows, no matter what her words try to conceal. The mistake most men make is jumping on it too fast. They'll say, "I saw you staring," or they'll try to push the conversation in a direction that exposes her. That ruins the tension. The smarter move is to hold your frame. Let her eyes linger. Let her feel safe in those unspoken moments. Then respond with calm energy, not neediness, not arrogance, just steady presence. That silence, that patience, builds far more attraction than calling her out ever could. Now, there's a difference between curiosity and attraction. Some women look because they're simply observing. The difference is in repetition and softness. Curiosity fades quickly. Attraction lingers, returns, and carries warmth. You'll know it when you see it, not because of one look, but because of a pattern she can't seem to break. And here's the deeper point. When you learn to read her eyes, you stop chasing her words. You stop overanalyzing what she says, and you start focusing on what she shows. That shift gives you confidence. You're no longer at the mercy of her verbal smokescreen. You're tuned into the signals she can't disguise. If you've ever caught her eyes telling a story her words refuse to, write it in the comments. I read her eyes. And here's what makes this sign so powerful. Once you realize that attraction often hides in plain sight, you begin to notice the signals most men miss. You learn to trust your observation, not just her language. And as you'll see, the signs keep stacking, each one pointing to the same truth she's trying to keep under wraps. And the more you recognize them, the harder it becomes for her to hide it from you. Signs 3. Body language betrays her feelings. Words can be controlled. Smiles can be faked. But the body always tells the truth. A woman may act casual or even indifferent, but if you pay attention to her body language, you'll see the signals she doesn't want you to notice. Attraction leaks through movement, posture, and proximity. Take James, 58, from Chicago. He met Melissa, 55, at a local wine tasting. Melissa spoke politely, nothing over the top, But James began noticing the subtle cues. Every time he spoke, she leaned slightly forward. Her feet pointed toward him, even when her body was angled another way. She touched her necklace repeatedly, and when James laughed, she laughed too, even if she didn't fully catch the joke. On the surface, Melissa kept her words neutral, but her body language gave her away. Here's why this matters. When a woman is interested but doesn't want to show it, her subconscious betrays her intentions. She might mirror your movements, crossing her arms when you do, taking a sip when you take a sip. She might reduce the physical distance, even if she claims she just happened to stand closer. Or she might find small excuses for touch brushing against your arm, tapping your shoulder in conversation. These aren't accidents. They're physical expressions of what her words are trying to conceal. But men often miss these signs. They take her words at face value while ignoring her actions. Worse, some men misinterpret friendliness as attraction. The difference is in consistency. A friendly woman might smile, but her body stays neutral. An interested woman will unconsciously orient herself toward you over and over again. This is where Stoic wisdom comes into play. Seneca once wrote, "Truth is simple, and the truth here is clear. If her body moves closer when her words hold back, her actions speak louder." Your job isn't to force acknowledgement, but to stay calm and let her signals reveal themselves. The mistake men make is drawing attention to it too soon. They'll say, "Oh, you're touching me a lot," or "Why are you standing so close?" That breaks the moment. Instead, recognize the sign quietly. Keep your frame. Let her body do the talking while you remain composed. The less you react, the more those signals will multiply. Think about this. If she wasn't interested, her body would naturally create distance. Indifference means closed posture, crossed arms, or leaning away. Attraction means openness, angled torso, uncrossed legs, tilting head, subtle touches. Once you learn to distinguish between the two, you'll never confuse politeness with desire again. So the next time you're speaking to a woman and you notice her mirroring, leaning closer, or finding reasons to touch, don't dismiss it. It's her subconscious revealing more than she wants to say. If you've ever seen her body language expose feelings she tried to hide, write it in the comments. I notice the signs. And here's the bigger picture. Once you tune into body language, you stop over-analyzing her words. You stop doubting yourself when she acts neutral, because you can see the truth in her actions. And as you'll discover, the signals don't stop here. Each one builds on the last, painting a clearer picture of what she's really feeling beneath the surface. Signs 4. She creates jealousy on purpose. One of the clearest signs a woman likes you, but doesn't want to admit it, is when she tries to spark jealousy. She'll do it subtly, mentioning another man in conversation, laughing a little too hard at someone else's joke, or casually bringing up how popular she is. On the surface, it looks harmless. But beneath it, she's testing you. She wants to see if you notice. She wants to feel your reaction. Here's the psychology. When attraction is present, women often feel vulnerable. Vulnerability makes them wonder if you feel the same. Instead of asking directly, they create scenarios to measure your interest. If you react with jealousy, they confirm you care. If you stay calm and grounded, they respect your strength even more. Either way, it's a test of your frame. But here's the trap: most men fail this test. They either overreact, getting possessive or confrontational, which makes them look insecure, or they swing too far the other way, pretending they don't care at all, which makes them seem detached. Both extremes ruin the balance. The key is in the middle. Acknowledge the moment with calm energy, but never lose your composure. Think of it this way. If she talks about another man, don't interrogate her or shut down. Instead, respond with relaxed confidence. A smile, a witty remark, or simply moving the conversation forward without tension shows her something powerful. You're not threatened, and you won't play into games. That strength is what she's really looking for. The Stoics lived this mindset. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Her attempt to create jealousy is an outside event. You can't stop it. But you can control your response, and your response decides whether you lose value or gain respect. Here's the paradox. The moment you don't give away your power, the game backfires. She realizes she can't shake your frame. That realization builds attraction, because deep down, she wants a man who can stand firm, not one who crumbles at the first sign of pressure. It's important to note, when she creates jealousy, it's not always malicious. Often, it's instinctive. She wants to feel chosen. She wants to know if she matters. By staying calm and composed, you reassure her in the strongest way possible, not through needy words, but through masculine steadiness. So next time you notice her flirting a little louder when you're around, or dropping hints about other men, don't panic. Recognize it for what it is, a test of your strength. If you can pass it without breaking your frame, you show her you're different from the rest. If you've ever seen a woman try to make you jealous on purpose, write it in the comments. I stay unshaken. And here's why this sign is so important. Once you learn how to handle jealousy games with calm presence, you stop falling into traps. You stop reacting out of insecurity. And instead, you begin to use these moments as proof of your strength. And as you'll soon see, jealousy is only one of many ways attraction hides in plain sight. Sign 5. Hot-cold push and pull. Few things confuse men more than the hot-cold dynamic. One day she's warm, laughing at your jokes, sending quick replies, leaning into the connection. The next day she's distant, short in her messages, or acts like you don't matter at all. It feels like whiplash. Most men start questioning themselves. Did I do something wrong? Did she lose interest overnight? But often, this hot-cold behavior is not a sign of disinterest. It's a sign of attraction she's trying to regulate. Take David, 59, from Phoenix. He started seeing Rachel, 55, through mutual friends. Some days Rachel was glowing with attention, texting him good morning, suggesting they meet for dinner, laughing at every story. But other days, she went silent. No replies, no calls. And when she finally responded, it was with short, vague answers. David was frustrated, but over time, he realized Rachel wasn't ignoring him out of disinterest. She was pulling back because her feelings scared her. The warmth was genuine. The coldness was her way of regaining control. Here's the psychology. Attraction makes people vulnerable. For many women, showing too much interest feels risky. So, after leaning in, they suddenly pull back to protect themselves. It's not about you, it's about their need to rebalance emotions. That's why push and pull often comes from women who like you the most. Now, most men handle this the wrong way. When she goes cold, they panic. They send multiple texts, demand explanations, or try to win her back with more effort. This only makes her retreat further because it shows insecurity. On the other hand, some men respond with equal coldness, cutting her off completely. That kills the momentum too. The right response is steadiness. When she's warm, enjoy the moment without clinging. When she's cold, don't chase. Instead, keep living your life, stay calm, and let her cycle back naturally. That balance shows strength. It proves you're not controlled by her mood swings. And that calm confidence is often what pulls her back even faster. The Stoics understood this principle long ago. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Hot-cold behavior is just what happens. Your reaction, calm or desperate, decides whether you win her respect or lose it." This push and pull is frustrating, but it's also revealing. If she had no attraction at all, there would be no cycle. She would simply be cold all the time, with no warmth to balance it. The fact that she swings between the two shows she's feeling something, but she's trying not to let it show too clearly. For David, the moment he stopped chasing during the cold phases, Rachel's behavior changed. Instead of drifting further, she came back stronger each time. Why? Because she realized he wasn't shaken by her distance. That steadiness made her feel safe leaning in again. So the next time you feel a woman pulling you close, then pushing you away, don't panic. Don't assume it's over. Recognize it as part of the hidden game of attraction. Your job isn't to fight it, it's to stand firm through it. If you've ever dealt with a woman's hot-cold behavior and learned to stay steady, write it in the comments. I stay grounded. And here's the bigger truth. Once you master the push-pull dynamic, you stop getting tossed around by emotions. You stop chasing when she retreats. You stop doubting when she comes close again. You hold steady, and that steadiness is exactly what makes her respect you more. And as you'll see, there are even deeper signals she'll give off when she can't hide her interest any longer. Sign 6. Subtle jealousy without admitting it. One of the strongest signs a woman likes you but doesn't want to show it is subtle jealousy. She won't say it outright. She won't admit that it bothers her. But her reactions will shift when she sees your attention on someone else. It might look like this. You're talking to another woman at a social gathering, and suddenly she appears beside you, joining the conversation even though she wasn't interested before. Or maybe she interrupts with a comment that shifts your focus back to her. Sometimes she'll tease you, "Oh, you've got plenty of fans, don't you?" pretending it's just a joke. Other times she'll go quiet, her energy changing the moment another woman enters the picture. All of these are forms of jealousy she won't admit. Why does she do this? Because admitting jealousy is admitting vulnerability, and vulnerability means acknowledging her interest. Instead, she disguises it with humor, sarcasm, or indifference. But underneath, the emotion is real. If she didn't care, she wouldn't react at all. Indifference is silent. Jealousy, no matter how subtle, always leaves a mark. The danger is misreading it. Some men mistake these little reactions as negative signs. They think, she's annoyed, she's distant, she's criticizing me, it must mean she's not into me. In reality, those little bursts of jealousy are proof of the opposite. They're proof she's invested enough to notice where your attention goes. This is where Stoic thinking makes the difference. Epictetus taught, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings." In this context, don't get offended if she teases you, interrupts you, or acts moody when you're speaking to someone else. Instead, recognize what's beneath it, interest, mixed with fear of losing influence. Her behavior is less about disrespect and more about testing how much control she has over your attention. Now, here's the critical part: how you respond. If you become defensive, trying to reassure her too much, you lose ground. If you attack her for being jealous, you make her shut down. The right response is calm awareness. Treat it lightly. A relaxed smile, a smooth transition, or simply carrying on without being shaken shows her what she needs to see, that you're not desperate for her approval and that you're not controlled by her subtle games. And here's the paradox. The less you react to her jealousy, the more she feels it, because she realizes she can't manipulate your emotions. That steadiness makes you more attractive, not less. She wants a man who can handle her emotions without crumbling, and subtle jealousy is her way of testing if you are that man. So next time she interrupts your conversation with another woman, or makes a sarcastic remark about your popularity, don't get rattled. See it for what it is. It's not rejection, it's proof you're on her mind more than she's willing to admit. If you've ever noticed jealousy hidden behind her words or actions, write it in the comments. I see the signs. And here's the bigger picture. Once you learn to read subtle jealousy for what it is, you gain clarity. You stop overthinking her mood swings. You stop confusing sarcasm with disinterest. You begin to see her reactions as a mirror of her hidden attraction. And as you'll soon discover, jealousy is just one of many layers. There are even deeper, more powerful signals she'll send when she's trying to hide her true feelings. Sign 7. Mixed signals mean hidden desire. Nothing throws men off balance more than mixed signals. One moment she's warm, laughing at your jokes, making time for you. The next moment she's distant, cold, or acting like you barely exist. It feels contradictory. But here's the reality. When a woman sends mixed signals, it often points to attraction she's trying not to reveal. Let's look at an example. Mark, 60, from California, started spending time with Diana, 57, through a hiking group. On some outings, Diana would walk beside him the entire trail, asking questions, smiling, even lightly brushing his arm when making a point. But the next week, she barely spoke to him at all, staying with other friends, avoiding eye contact. Mark was frustrated. He thought she had lost interest. But what was really happening was deeper. Diana liked him but felt nervous about showing too much, so she balanced her warmth with sudden distance, hoping not to appear obvious. Here's the psychology. Attraction makes people feel exposed. Women who don't want to be too easy often create hot and cold patterns as a defense. They lean in when they're comfortable, then pull back to protect themselves. Those mixed signals confuse men, but they're actually proof of inner conflict desire battling with self-control. The mistake many men make is overreacting to the cold moments. When she pulls back, they chase harder, sending long texts, asking, "What's wrong?" or trying to win back her warmth. This destroys attraction because it exposes insecurity. On the other hand, some men respond with frustration, confronting her for being inconsistent. That pushes her away too. The right approach is steadiness. When she's warm, enjoy it without clinging. When she's cold, stay calm and keep living your life. Don't mirror her distance in anger, and don't chase her back into warmth. Show that your frame doesn't depend on her mood swings. That kind of consistency makes you stand out from other men who get lost in the roller coaster. Think of it like this. If she had no interest, there would be no warmth at all. True disinterest looks flat and one-dimensional, no signals, no energy, no attention. Mixed signals are different. They reveal tension inside her, attraction she can't fully suppress but isn't ready to admit openly. The Stoics had a principle for this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Remain calm and serene regardless of what others do." That's your role when dealing with mixed signals. Her swings are not your responsibility to fix. Your responsibility is to remain steady, not losing control when she pulls back, and not inflating your ego when she leans in. Mark eventually learned this. Instead of chasing Diana during her cold days, he stayed relaxed, joked with others, and focused on his own experience. Over time, Diana's hot and cold behavior settled into something more stable, because she saw he wasn't shaken by it. His calm presence gave her the security to let her interest show more consistently. So the next time you feel whiplash from a woman's warm and cold phases, don't panic. Don't label it as rejection. Recognize it as hidden desire fighting for control. If you've ever dealt with mixed signals and realized they meant more than they seemed, write it in the comments. I stay steady. And here's the bigger picture. Once you understand mixed signals for what they truly are, you stop taking them personally. You stop chasing when she's distant and over-celebrating when she's close. You begin to see the pattern not as chaos, but as a sign that something deeper is brewing. And as you'll soon learn, there are even more revealing behaviors that prove attraction, even when she's trying her hardest to hide it. Signs 8. She mirrors your movements without knowing. There's a fascinating thing about human psychology. When we like someone, we unconsciously start to copy them. It's called mirroring. And when a woman does this with you, it's one of the clearest signs she's drawn in, even if she's trying not to admit it. Think about it. You take a sip of your drink, and seconds later, she takes one too. You lean back in your chair, and suddenly she adjusts her posture in the same way. You gesture with your hands while talking, and without realizing it, she matches your rhythm. None of this is planned. It's her subconscious aligning with yours, trying to create connection without saying it out loud. Why does this happen? Because attraction makes people seek harmony. Her mind is signaling, I want to be on the same wavelength as him. Mirroring is the body's way of bridging that gap. Even when she's trying to stay guarded, her movements reveal her desire to connect. The mistake many men make is overlooking it. They get lost in the conversation, in her words, in their own nerves, and miss the subtle cues. But once you know to look for mirroring, you'll see it everywhere. And when it's consistent, it's a strong indicator of hidden interest. Now, here's where Stoic wisdom applies. Seneca once wrote, "We are always influenced by those we admire." When a woman mirrors your movements, she's signaling admiration whether she admits it or not. She wouldn't copy someone she had no attraction to. She does it because she feels drawn into your presence, and her body naturally follows. But here's the key, don't call it out. Don't say, "You're copying me," or joke about it. That ruins the subconscious flow. The power of mirroring lies in its silence. Let it happen naturally. Let her body language reveal her interest while you maintain calm presence. Also, don't confuse politeness with attraction. Some people mirror slightly out of habit in social settings, but attraction-driven mirroring is deeper. It's consistent, it shows up across multiple interactions, and it usually accompanies other signals: longer eye contact, leaning in, subtle touches. When these cluster together, you can be confident she feels more than she's saying. Here's another layer. Mirroring doesn't just show attraction, it strengthens it. When two people move in sync, even unconsciously, it builds rapport and emotional closeness. That's why dancers, athletes, and even military units form strong bonds. They're literally moving as one. So when she mirrors you, she's not only revealing desire, she's deepening it through physical rhythm. The best move you can make? Stay grounded in your own frame. Don't adjust your behavior to force her to mirror you that looks unnatural. Instead, carry yourself with relaxed confidence. Let her follow your lead. The more steady you are, the more naturally she'll fall into your rhythm. So next time you notice her sipping when you sip, leaning in when you lean in, or smiling right after you smile, recognize what's happening. It's not coincidence. It's her attraction slipping through, whether she wants you to see it or not. If you've ever caught a woman mirroring you in ways she didn't even realize, write it in the comments. I notice her moves. And here's the bigger truth. Mirroring is one of those hidden behaviors that makes attraction undeniable once you spot it. It proves that no matter how guarded her words may be, her body craves alignment with yours. And as you'll see, there are even more powerful signals that show she's invested, even when she works hard to hide it. Signs 9. Her silence hides her attention. Sometimes the loudest signal isn't in what she says, it's in what she doesn't. Silence can be confusing for men. When a woman keeps her words short, avoids obvious compliments, or even acts like she doesn't care, many guys assume she's not interested. But often, that silence is covering attention she doesn't want to reveal. Let's take Robert, 61, from Dallas. He met Angela, 58, at a book club. Angela rarely said much to him directly. Her comments were brief, polite, and never openly flirtatious. Robert almost assumed she wasn't interested, but then he noticed the details. Angela always sat where she could see him. When someone else was talking to Robert, her body stiffened slightly, and she paid closer attention. Though her words were few, her focus was constant. Her silence wasn't disinterest, it was a shield hiding where her attention really was. Why do women do this? Because silence feels safer. By not speaking too much, she avoids exposing her feelings. She can maintain her composure, keep her image intact, and protect herself from vulnerability. But attraction doesn't stay hidden. It leaks through in her focus, her positioning, her little reactions when your attention shifts elsewhere. Here's the mistake men make. They misinterpret silence as rejection. They think, she's not saying much, so she must not care. In reality, many women who are interested actually hold back the most. Their quietness isn't lack of interest, it's the weight of it. The Stoics understood this principle. Epictetus wrote, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen twice as much as we speak." Apply that here. When she's silent, listen with your eyes. Notice where her focus is. Notice how she positions herself, how her energy shifts around you. Her silence may be the loudest clue of all. This doesn't mean you should push her to talk more or demand that she express herself. That only makes her retreat. Instead, meet her silence with calm confidence. Carry the conversation naturally, but don't pressure her into revealing what she's not ready to admit. The more steady you are, the more her silence turns into comfort, and over time, comfort into openness. Think about this. If she truly had no interest, she wouldn't pay attention at all. She wouldn't position herself near you. She wouldn't react to your interactions with others. She would simply be indifferent. Silence paired with attention is different. It's proof she cares more than her words allow. Robert eventually realized this with Angela. Instead of pulling away, he stayed relaxed, acknowledged her presence, and let her comfort build. Slowly, Angela's silence softened into conversation, and her attention became impossible to hide. So the next time a woman seems quiet, don't assume she's not into you. Watch her silence carefully. You may find it hides more attention than any words could show. If you've ever realized her silence was actually a sign of interest, write it in the comments. I see through silence. And here's the bigger truth. Once you stop mistaking silence for rejection, you unlock a new level of awareness. You see that attention can hide in the quietest moments. And as you'll soon discover, when a woman's silence is paired with your calm presence, it reveals something far more powerful than words ever could. Signs 10. She wants you to take the lead. Attraction is not just about signals, it's also about roles. And one of the clearest signs a woman likes you, even if she tries not to show it, is when she subtly positions you to take the lead. She may not say it out loud, but her behavior reveals that she's waiting for your direction. This doesn't always mean she's passive. In fact, she might be independent, outspoken, or even appear in control of her life. But when it comes to you, she hesitates to make the first move. She lets you choose the path, set the tone, or decide where things go. Her silence, her mixed signals, her subtle glances, they're all forms of leaving, the door cracked open, waiting for you to step through. Here's what it looks like. She avoids making definite plans, saying things like, "We'll see," or "maybe." That's not rejection, it's an invitation for you to be decisive. She hesitates to escalate conversations, but responds quickly when you do. She avoids openly expressing affection, but when you guide the energy, she follows without resistance. Beneath it all, she wants you to carry the weight of direction, because that leadership proves strength. Why? Because at a core psychological level, attraction for women is deeply tied to respect. Respect isn't given to the man who waits passively for her approval. It's given to the man who knows his value, moves with clarity, and leads with confidence. When she wants you to take the lead, she's signaling that she sees you as capable of holding that role. The Stoics understood this dynamic. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In other words, stop waiting for permission, live it, embody it, and lead it. A woman may hide her attraction through mixed signals, silence, or subtle tests, but the moment you step into leadership with calm strength, she feels the pull. Here's the mistake men often make. They wait, they overthink, they analyze every signal, every word, and end up paralyzed. While they hesitate, the moment slips away. Leadership is not about being forceful or pushy, it's about direction. It's about being the one who sets the frame instead of waiting for her to define it. Think of it this way. When you decide where to go for dinner, when you suggest meeting at a certain time, when you steer the energy of the conversation, you're showing her something powerful. You're not afraid to move first. You're not asking her to carry the weight. That confidence creates space for her to relax, which is often what she wants most. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't leave the opening. She would close the door firmly, give no space for you to lead, and make it clear she's uninterested. But when she lingers in silence, sends mixed signals, or mirrors your movements, what she's really doing is waiting to see if you'll rise to the role she hopes you can fill. And here's the deeper truth: when a woman wants you to take the lead, it's not just about attraction, it's about trust. She may be guarded, she may try to hide her feelings, but in letting you step forward, she's giving you permission to shape the direction of what comes next. That's not weakness, it's a form of respect she reserves for the man who has earned it. So when you notice her hesitating, holding back, or leaving space for you, don't hesitate in return. Don't wait for endless confirmations. Recognize the sign for what it is: her quiet way of saying, "Show me where this can go." And when you respond with calm, masculine leadership, you'll find that what she tried to hide suddenly becomes impossible for her to contain. So here's the truth. Women may try to hide their feelings, but the signs always slip through: nervous body language, subtle jealousy, silence that covers attention, and the constant tests that reveal more than their words ever will. Once you learn to recognize these signals, you stop second-guessing yourself. You stop chasing clarity she won't give, and instead, you trust what her actions are already showing you. The man who understands these signs is never lost in confusion. He moves with calm confidence, leads with strength, and knows how to hold his frame no matter how subtle the game becomes. That's the power of combining psychology with Stoic discipline. If you found value here, make sure you subscribe. This channel is your reminder every day to live with masculine clarity, self-respect, and the kind of presence that draws women in without effort. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.